Welcome to the UpKeep Pledge Pros Podcast, a podcast dedicated to unmatched value and unwavering support for our community and our customers. Today, we have the winner. And by the winner, the Maintenance Hero Awards, we have the nominee and the nominator here on the Pledge Pros Podcast today. Please welcome Ron Santelik and Jesse Short. Welcome, fellas.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Well, thank you for having us.
You are very welcome. Ron, you are the winner of all winners. There were hundreds of applicants and people who were boasting for their team, for their guy, for their gal, everybody. But yours came out on top, man. How does it feel?
Wow, that's humbled.
It's good. Well, you earned it, man. We all we did was decide. It was you who did all the work, right?
Right. Thank you.
And Jesse, obviously, he recognized that in you, and he decided, hey, I'm gonna push this guy up here and see what happens, right?
Right. Yeah. I was kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Ron thought it was he thought it was a practical joke when I called him after late at night. He thought I was teasing him.
Yeah. Well, that's wild. I mean, so you guys work for Rowell Chemical. Ron is a senior project manager. Jesse is a project engineer. So I see you guys are in the same office. You guys are probably button heads and collaborating at the same time.
It's collaboration. Yeah. Well, I started a few months ago and had really the choice to choose where I sat, but it just made sense to work really close with Ron. I knew he had a lot of experience, and it was just a great opportunity to sit. And there's a huge benefit to it every day, where I'm getting information I'm not even asking for, just by being in the same room.
So good, Ron. What do you have to say about that?
I'm glad at this point in my career that somebody like Jesse's here, and definitely glad for Jesse. I've been trying to find somebody to kind of pass my stuff off to Will for a long time, and the timing could have been better. Jesse's takes everything in. He's got great judgment, and when I do retire, I will feel really good passing it on.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. Like I said, it's a great honor to have you guys. We love bringing the community into the spotlight. The people who are in the facilities, in the field, out and about, doing the work day in and day out every single day. If you're leading a team, you're enabling them to be their best selves, to do their best work, right? So there's so much that comes with being in our industry of maintenance, reliability, engineering, manufacturing. There's all these things, like people view it as like this big wheel that's just spinning. It's like, no. There's a billion things inside that wheel that are making that big wheel turn, right?
You bet.
So what I wanted to ask you, Ron, my first question is what's your background, man? Where'd you start? Where'd you come from? And where's it going?
Well, I started out literally as a kid, hanging out at a farm that was across the street from me, and they had a horse stable, and helping run the farm, and got me sort of in the mechanical groove. And I was working at a gas station next door to me, and he was doing basic car maintenance things. Then there was a gentleman who used to bring his horse and ride in the stable, who worked for a pipeline company. And he saw my work ethic and things I was doing around there. And he had a unique opportunity where an old refinery had shut down, and he was kind of anointed the manager of the facility. And they were getting ready to demolish the refinery and convert the old refinery into a product terminal. So he brought me in as kind of a yard hand when I was 18 years old with Citgo. And it's a fairly large facility they have in East Chicago, Indiana. And I spent my next 24 years there, rising up through the ranks with operations, maintenance, doing capital projects, things like that, and just learning all sorts of things about piping, electrical tanks, you name it, and which was really, really cool. And then from there, I quit Citgo in 2001. I went into IT, which was kind of a weird thing to do. And I was in IT for 5 years, working at a hospital ultimately, and I was in the network department over document imaging, payroll, things like that. There was some drama there that caused me to shift away from it. They were getting ready to sell the facility. So that took me out to California, and I worked at a family oil company to remodel a crude oil terminal in Long Beach, California. And I did that for 3 years. And then when that kind of wrapped up, I started moving more to the capital projects only and less than operations. So there was a company called Westway Terminals that brought me back to the Chicago area. And I was with Westway for about 8 years, traveling around the country, doing project work and helping with maintenance. They didn't really have a dedicated workforce for maintenance as we do here. But, I parlayed my things that I learned at Citgo for them. And that took me till like 2016, and then I moved back down to Texas to build a new build facility there, and I was working at a few different places while I was in Texas before moving back here to the Chicago area with Rowell Chemical, and here I am today. I've been here a little over 5 years now.
Nice, it's awesome. Yeah, a long storied experience.
Mm-hmm. A lot of experience along the way. So most people will be lucky to have the experiences that I've been able to have throughout my career.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of it was kind of in the same place, right? Tank terminals, chemical stuff
exactly.
Like that. Yeah, that's awesome. So when we're talking about that, really, it's like, so as you came up through the ranks, right? And you're in your current role, right? Your current role is senior project manager here. What does that look like for you from a day-to-day basis?
Well, before Jesse arrived, there was a whole lot of stuff on me. But now that he's here, I'm able to divest a lot of things. And primarily, Jesse's taking over the newer capital projects. And I'm kind of settling back more into the maintenance support role, which we still need a lot of work here to really get where we need to be. And it's kind of nice to have Jesse kind of take over these new initiatives, and he's learning as he go. And of course, being in the same room like this, we can share ideas frequently and try to come up with the best solutions to do things. But it literally does involve, still capital improvements. It involves maintenance things, and we manufacture chemicals here. So it's there's some different things here that a lot of places don't have to experience. Some really dangerous commodities on site we have to be very careful for that are covered under a PSM policy. And I'm not saying there's risk there, but even when I was in the oil business, it's a risky business. But when it's done right, it can be done very safely.
Right. So would you say that you spend the majority of your time out in the field or in the office, doing planning, doing, budgeting, or do you find it like a healthy mix?
It's moved a lot more into the office, doing the planning and purchasing for maintenance primarily. But so Jesse being new, again, I'm kind of pointing him who we've been dealing with, and he's bringing some new vendors in, things like that. But we're just trying to move everything forward. This place was in such a state of stasis, I guess might be a good word to say, for a lot of years. And I can't say that a lot of the things that were done here were probably of the best value previously, and we're trying to do it hopefully the last time doing it the right way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the goal, right? If we want to do it once, we want to do it right, ideally. But, on the same note, sometimes we have to go through iterations, and that comes with experience. It comes with learning what we do wrong and not making sure we don't do it again. Right.
Exactly.
So, being in this role and really, being an integral part of not just the engineering team, but the improvements team, the maintenance team.
And I do IT too, by the way.
I don't envy you on that.
I have a full plate.
So, I mean, I guess what was the first interest? I know we talked a little about your experience back in the day as a hand, and just being around all this stuff, but like, was that it? Was that the spear that got through into your interests, or what was it that really got you into the field? And then were there anybody specific in that evolution that really drove it home for you or inspired you?
Well, I've always kind of been mechanical since I was a kid. My dad wasn't really a craftsman per se. He was a grocery store manager who grew up in the Depression, so he was pretty good at improvising. But I think that's probably the spark that lit into me when I was growing up. And then to be able to do things right has always just made me feel like there's a feeling of accomplishment, when you do something different or new. And that's just kind of grown from bigger and better as I moved along.
Yeah. That's good.
Now, and as far as influences, I mean, there's been dozens and also several good ones, but I would have to say there's probably been more bad influences that I've learned from than positive ones. And that's okay, as long as you recognize that and you either strive to do better or, so in a lot of cases, do the opposite of what was being done. You can make good out of that.
Yeah, I mean, I share that same sentiment. Every time I've had any kind of meaningful change or learning in my life, it's because something bad happened, right? Either
Yeah.
because I made it happen, I made a bad choice, or I was part of a bad choice, or just plain old bad luck, right? And then those things stick with you. And it's like, it's like, well, if everything's going great all the time, what's forcing you to evolve and grow and change, so that's good. I think that's going to echo very well with most maintenance people, right? Because, as maintenance and reliability people are the 24-hour, 7 days a week, 365 people. They're living and breathing their craft, their trade, their expertise every day, all day long. And a lot of times, even when they're at home, I'm sure both of you experience that, where someone calls up and says, "I don't know what's going on here. Please help. Like, I know you're eating dinner, but I need a hand," right?
Yeah. Well, for the first the refinery was first built in 1928, so and they really stopped doing a lot of the improvements there in the mid 50s. They didn't shut the thing down until 1972. So, old is the word there, and there was a lot of opportunity to rebuild or repair some very very old equipment. When I went out to California, it was built in the 60s with used equipment. So again, you had a great opportunity to improve a lot of things that were not necessarily done right. And everywhere I've been, and I think that's the case for most manufacturing or storage facilities, whatever you have, they've all got history to them. And, some are built better than others. Some have been maintained better than others. And, when the right people get in the right places, they recognize what the opportunities are. And they try to pull them up to where they really need to be.
Right. So, I guess for you, Jesse, where do you see Ron? I mean, Ron is clearly doing the right things. A lot. You spoke on his behalf. He's answering everything. To the T. What's your perspective, Jesse? When you look at Ron and his tenure, his experience, how has that helped you? And what really led for you to really want to nominate Ron for this Maintenance Hero Award?
Right. So, let's break it down. What's the first question? Is like, what inspired you to nominate Ron?
Yeah. So yeah, your perspective is like, how is Ron viewed at the plant, and then ultimately what made you want to nominate him?
Okay. Yeah, I had Ron's viewed as probably someone that's very busy. He's spread very thin. He's viewed as an excellent and assertive decision maker. I think that's what Ron has a great relationship with his boss, which is collectively our boss now, Dino. I think what makes Ron really valuable to a guy like Dino, who is the vice president, is Ron, in some ways, Ron manages the entire facility because he's just such a confident decision maker. And Dino knows that Dino can be very hands off, and a lot of things will still get done very effectively. And you can maybe change Ron's title to plant manager sometimes. He takes on that whole complete role. And yeah, so I think that all was part of, like that effort. I know, like this is about UpKeep, so I want to circle it back to UpKeep. Ron used UpKeep in a tremendous way. He was able to. We had an issue with specifically this Rowell when kind of like a crisis where we're dealing with a union vote, and we're having to bring in all these outside contractors on board, and we're it just creates a very tricky situation how you have to deal with not having necessarily an internal maintenance department and have all these external resources. And Ron was able to use UpKeep and use that as a tool to help manage all of those resources, and just in general pushing a new tool onto a new group of people, in this case that being UpKeep. I think that is tremendous, especially someone as as old as Ron to still value new tools, right? I think that's pretty special as well. A lot of people that are as senior as Ron, they don't value new tools and are excited to see like new software. I can give multiple examples of that. I use Bluebeam Review, and I've used that in the past, and I shared that with Ron, and he was excited and really curious to learn about it as well. That is pretty intriguing to me, uh as far as, I'll kick the ball back to you. What's the follow-up question?
The follow-up question is, it seems as though Ron has built tremendous trust within the organization. And that is extremely valuable, not just from a leadership standpoint, but from a confidence standpoint, from a getting things done, as you say he does, right? Trust is paramount. Having a hands-off boss in a lot of respects is a good thing. It's saying, I know you know what you're doing. I don't have to be involved in every intricate decision. I don't have to be involved with all these things. I trust you to take the reins and to lead the team and drive the change and the things that we need to be done. So that's awesome. I appreciate that. And I'm glad that you're here to speak, on Ron's behalf, because it's great to, Ron, it's easy to talk about yourself and, boast and, embellish a bit. Right. But it's always good to have that reassurance there. And you said Ron was old. Ron, you can't be more than what? 30, 35?
Do you want me to tell you?
No.
Okay. I could retire.
I'm just messing with you.
That's all right.
So I guess my last two questions, Ron, for you. We talked about, your experiences and, what are the learning experiences, which you hit the nail on the head, right? It's the negative. What are the bad things? We gotta make things right. We got to do the right things. We have to change. We have to adapt. We have to grow. What advice would you give to someone who is just getting in the door, right? And let's say they're a tradesman or they're a young engineer or something, right? That is in the respect of what you do on a day-to-day basis or your team does on a day-to-day basis. What advice would you give them?
The world has changed a lot since I was starting out. And back when I was starting out, I'm put in context of, I'll call them pipeliners. They were, it's kind of a different breed of people. They were very much a very strong, close-knit team. You get in there, you work hard, you work your ass off, you fix a leak or whatever, and then you go play hard, right? One thing they loved to do was break in new engineers the right way by, just giving them just nothing but a rash of crap. And it was kind of brutal. And I saw some guys actually bust out because of that. And it was a shame. Somebody new, I think the best thing you can do is just put your pride aside a little bit, watch and learn from people who've been there a little bit, and be a sponge. Learn all you can from everything. Because there are nuggets regardless of where you go, whether they're good or bad. And, again, discern what's the right thing to do and move forward with that. You don't have to feel like you know it all. I'm a great plagiarizer. I know people across the country in both oil and chemical industries that if I have a question, I got know who to call and get information and borrow this or that. It's there's a lot of support out there. It's getting thinner. A lot of us are graying out right now, but take advantage of the things that are available to you and try to get your support network to be your backup, be your sounding board. It can go really a long way.
Yeah, 100%. Just like building your bench, right? It's like who's on your team, who do you have, to leverage their experiences and their failures, right? So that you don't have to have those same failures.
And something else that I've noticed too, I think it's really important. In light of on the maintenance side there, always consult with the end user. If there's an assembly line or something like that, or somebody's out there hooking a hose up or pushing a button or doing something, understand how the operation works from their point of view. When you're going and either making new things or changes, or even if you're, how can you make the job better for them? And that's really how you build trust. If you can take the human factor in account with that too, and be able to, literally make it better from both sides, mechanically, technology wise, or human wise, that it really helps a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. I used to tell my team all the time when we were going down roads that I had been on in the past, I would always say, let me fail for you, right? Let my failures of the past be the only ones, right? So that
Yeah.
you don't have to have that same experience that I did, right? And that's so important. I mean, that is like the pinnacle of the growth, right? And tying it back to your role as a project engineer, project manager, you don't want to be making those mistakes, right? If you run pipe, with a flange that's too close to a wall or a pylon or something, and it's like, oh, okay, they got it in there, and then they built something next to it. Now they can't get it apart. You know what I mean? Like those are the things
Right.
we're thinking about all the time.
Yeah, Nicole. Well, you go ahead and finish it. I got a question for you, or a statement anyway to make.
No, go. You're the winner, man.
Okay, do you? I guess your goal is in doing something like this, not just with UpKeep users, but hopefully other people who are looking around, maybe looking at new systems. I got to tell you what really sold me on going with UpKeep. My predecessor apparently had rented or purchased an annual subscription to one of your competitors, I won't name, and he spent about a year developing it. What I understand, it is expired by the time I came in, but I got enough information out of it that he spent pretty much the entire year trying to build up some assets in the system. And by the time he left, he printed out just a blank page. So if you can imagine, like one of your UpKeep work orders blank, he printed that out and gave it to our operations guy and said, "Here, you got a maintenance problem. Fill this out." So, I don't know what he spent with the subscription. He spent a year of his time trying to build the system out, and he ended up with a piece of paper you could have done on a Word or Excel sheet.
Right.
My criteria when I was looking around was find something stupid, simple for a user to enter a work order in. And you guys fit that bill. I didn't care really how much the back end worked. My number one criteria was they need to be able to use either a tablet device or a smartphone and put a ticket in and put minimal amount of information and make it go. And along with that, we were able to, in this facility, to kind of divide it up. And I think we have 8 or 9 logical areas. And then we've taken the main components in each of those 8 or 9 logical areas to subdivide it further. Now, we have a lot more asset information we ultimately should fill out, but it's got us up and running and it's working. And the real reason it's working is because it is simple for somebody who, I'm the oldest guy here, but I'm one of the most technologically advanced people here too. For people who are not very good with technology, they can easily put a ticket into there, and that's been just a godsend to the success of the system here.
Yeah. I mean, that is I'll use my stump speech that I've said for a long time. I was an UpKeep customer as well. I implemented it across many, many locations. UpKeep enables the way work is actually done. And that's as simple as I can put it. Right. And it's been immensely valuable for thousands of people in your same shoes. Right. And it's a great thing. And this UpKeep is the facilitator of this, but this is about you, Ron. I mean, this is about industry. This is about people doing the work. UpKeep aside, right? That's what we really, really care about. I'm ecstatic that you've made those notes and that great explanation of why you chose UpKeep. We greatly appreciate that, and we greatly appreciate you and Jesse as well, and what you do every single day. I guess the last thing is, Ron, if people want to connect, chat, talk about maintenance, reliability, engineering, projects, chemical, which I'm not in the world of, how can they get a hold of you? Don't put your cell phone number on here.
Well, no, but I'm on LinkedIn. I think most people are in there now. You should be able to look me up, and I'm open to connections. So that's one way there. If you want to put an email address or some whatever in there, I don't know what you guys normally do, but I'm open to speak with people.
Cool. Jesse, how about you?
LinkedIn as well. Jesse Short. Yeah, reach out. I love to talk about backgrounds, and I play around on Reddit and on some forums, and just through some of the posts I make, sometimes I'll get people reaching out about joining. Usually it's very broad, asking me, how do you get an engineering job in Chicago, stuff like that. But I love stuff like that, especially from like the younger, the better. People just graduating college, then you're lost. feel free to reach out, and I can give you any kind of help I could give.
Super, super valuable. That's what it's about, right? It's about training up, mentoring, and providing opportunities to the people who will ultimately replace us, right? So that our legacies and our trades and our crafts will live on and on and on and be as profitable and experienced and valuable as they possibly can be. Ron,
Exactly.
you get the last word.
Well, just kind of what I was alluding to before. Sometimes the easiest path is not always the most obvious path to. Sometimes it takes to put in a few extra steps along the way just to see why because in a lot of ways, what we do has to be defensible. Why are you upgrading to this, or why are you doing it that way instead of there's some rationale behind it. You got to really look at what you're dealing with and make the best, most intelligent and take that decision.
That's awesome, fellas. I want to thank you so much. Ron, congratulations
Thank you.
again. Jesse, thank you for nominating Ron. It's been wonderful. On behalf of UpKeep, thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep driving. Keep inspiring. And the people who come after us will be grateful that you did. And as always, fellas, we will see you on the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you much.
All right.
Take care.